Hi everyone. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. I am Louris Martin Leasing. I am a multi-hyphenate creative. That's what they call us now when we're doing all kinds of different creative things. And I am doing this program on my creative business TT page. And this show is all about creative resilience. Now, resilience, as I am sure you know, is all about our ability to bounce back, our ability to recover, to keep striving, keep creating, keep moving forward. And, this COVID is hitting us. I can't say it has because it is still hitting us for six, budget coming up soon. How are you coping, my creative community? How are you figuring this new normal out, navigating it, creating opportunities for yourself and for others, hopefully? Well, today we'll be talking to a wonderful creative talent that I happen to know really, really well. And she will be sharing all of that information with us. Now, it's an interesting time. We've been losing our greats at a rate this year, last year. It's been, that golden generation that Ruby Victor is always talking about, of the elder generation who holds so much wealth of knowledge, of history, of methodology, of ways of doing things that are uniquely Caribbean and Trinidadian that they have developed over years and years and years. And we are losing this wealth daily. So we need to pick that one up. We've lost Sprang Alang. He was ailing for a long time. His brother, Tony Hall, died earlier this year. We've also lost recently Nigel Scott, an actor who's put in a lot of time on with mentoring younger performers. So all of these guys have given so much to Trinidad and Tobago. And yet we see someone like Errol Fabian, really, really struggling to keep things together. And thank goodness he was able to share that with us, because asking for help is one of the most important ways that we can strive and continue to thrive, by really reaching out to each other and asking for help. And I saw such an outpouring of love and appreciation for Errol Fabian. And I felt so wonderful to be part of this community and to be part of this country where within a day or less, the money was raised to sort out the issue. And it was a lot of money raised. I am blown away. I'm flabbergasted. It's wonderful. So we just saw how asking for help could be very, very important. So guys, ask for help, reach out, let people know what's going on with you. Shame, it can be very difficult, but make an effort, okay? All right, so without any further ado, I would like to spend a little time introducing my next guest. Her name is Risanne Martin, and she is a fashion creative and a culture professional. She has over 8 years experience in Caribbean focused content creation for fashion and costume design, creative entrepreneurial workshops, youth mentorship programs, and visual direction for television and social media campaigns. She manages a creative team that oversees a dynamic consultancy brand, Brown Cotton Caribbean. Her YouTube channel, Style by Style We Stand, focuses on the creation of Caribbean-inspired clothing and upcycling techniques to encourage a more environmentally friendly and sustainable fashion future in Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean diaspora. So quite a mouthful, quite a lot going on here with Miss Risanne Martin. And I'll spill the beans really, really early. Yes, Risanne is my sister. I like to tell people she's my older sister, but I'll be honest here in the Creative Resilience series. She is my younger sister, and she's someone that I've mentored a bit as we were growing up, and I think she's amazing. and I'm here to share her with you all a little bit. So she's standing by, so I'm about to bring her on in. Hi, Risanne.
Hi. Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I am hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Why did you have to tell everybody we're sisters? I wanted to be a surprise.
You never like me to tell people, but it's true.
Every time we start talking, it's a wrap anyway.
It is a wrap anyway. Like she's like, let me put on glasses so they won't figure it out.
Trying to do the whole Clark Kent Superman.
That didn't really work on anyone, did it? So, Risanne, how are you this fine Saturday morning? What have you been up to?
I am great. I have been shooting non-stop, and I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, I've just been working consistently.
So when you say working, when you say shooting nonstop, what do you mean? Tell us a bit more about that, the artistic direction, direction for shoots and stuff like that. What does that mean? I don't think a lot of people understand this.
So right now, we're very focused on wardrobe direction and styling for commercial shoots. Commercial shoots are in overdrive right now because the audiences are bigger than ever to do them. Right? People are home, a lot of people are working from home, so there's a lot of people on social media. So now is a great time for brands to kind of get their social media campaigns organized and bigger brands to get their TV advertising organized and their billboards. They're doing a lot of billboards on the highways and all over Trinidad and Tobago. And fortunately, for me and my small team, we get to do the wardrobe direction and the styling and the visual direction. So it's been going really well. It's a blessing to have consistent work in this time. We are not taking that for granted. We are very, very blessed. And it hasn't been from the beginning of COVID. There's just the burst of energy just started happening probably July to now. And it hasn't stopped. So we just rolling with the punches and doing the work, you know?
Well, I hear a lot of gratitude for work. You have been in this game for a while. And, I think personally that the way that you've brought a sort of professionalism to the field, not only with your pricing, but also with your work ethic and your organizational skills, So I wanted to find out a little bit about how you got into this field of styling and wardrobe direction. It sounds so kind of far-fetched,
right?
A little bit, when I was growing up, I didn't know there was something that somebody could do, So how did you get into it? How did that become your career?
Okay, so my first, I was always a stylist. I think I was born a stylist, to be honest.
I agree.
I was always into what I was wearing. I was always into what other people were wearing, and it was obsessive, to an obsessive point. My mother, our mother, we had different experiences, as we've been talking about lately, and she was very, I think, looking back now in retrospect, I think she was very concerned or kind of scared or worried, I would say, that my love for material things and clothes and fashion would take away from her education and make me less, you know what I mean? Less likely to succeed academically.
Yes.
But it was one or the other because she didn't understand it at all. It was something very new to her. She not knowing that her style influenced me a lot.
Yeah.
Her love for fashion, because she loved fashion as well.
She did.
Right? But she had a very humble way about how she would accept things. So she wouldn't boastfully say, I love fashion and I love shopping and I love this. You know what I mean? And I was that. I love that. I love shopping. I went on a lot of shopping escapades with her from very young. I was always right on my mom.
I was the opposite. I was always like, "You'll go ahead. I'll stay in the car, read,
work, yeah,
stay home and watch TV. I can't take this shopping thing."
Right.
That difference between us kind of made it a little more confusing too.
It did. Yeah. She was expecting a carbon copy of her first daughter, and that did not happen at all. Okay, not at all. So it was a bit of a struggle to acknowledge and to kind of come to terms with my love for it and not feel bad. For love. I always felt like if I love fashion and I love these things, then somehow my academics and that really what really matters wouldn't happen, not knowing that the fashion mattered just as much, you know what I mean, as
Yeah.
in terms of my development and understanding myself, you know. And I think going to school in Jamaica really broke it down for me. Before I went to Jamaica, I was at UWI in St. Augustine. And while there, I was living on hall. And that whole experience was my first time away from home. And I thought I would be a wild thing when I moved out. I was like, I'm going to be wild things. I'm going to do what I want, reach home late, go to parties. You know, nobody can stop me. And then I was home all the time like a loser. I wasn't going out as much as I thought. Like my whole imagination of what it would be to be free was very. But what I did do was get to explore my fashion. I got to wear whatever I want, to go to class. You know what I mean? And that was a big deal for me after being in the secondary school system for so long. You know, with the uniforms and being very in UWI, I could express my style and my fashion, and that really drew other people that I'd never attracted before to be friends. That I've never, people who I always thought I should be friends with because we have a style. Finally, they were like, "Hey, sister," we were like making all these connections.
So one of the things I'm hearing is that fashion and expressing yourself through fashion became a way to kind of find your tribe.
Yes.
Because you didn't grow up with your tribe, clearly. No. Not the fashion tribe.
Yeah,
mommy had some awareness of it and attraction to it, but not as strongly, or she would not acknowledge it as strongly. And by expressing yourself in this new environment in Mona, Jamaica, you were able to kind of find the people who you could really commune with and relate to as far as that.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And in St. Augustine, when we had a on hall, we had a committee, and I was voted the entertainment coordinator. So that means parties, and that's kind of how I started getting into parties more heavily, and that last. That lifestyle. Why I was attracted to the partying lifestyle was mainly because of the fashion. I could wear what I wanted. I felt like I could create whatever different characters I wanted to be. With my hair and my clothes, I could just be whoever I wanted to be. If I felt like being Beyonce tonight, I would be Beyonce tonight. Tomorrow I'll be Rihanna. The other day I'll just be me. And the next day I'll be, whoever. But when I say I'm always me, but inspired by different looks and different feelings. Sometimes I feel like a Tina Turner vibe, And I love having the power to transform myself, that energy and that vibe, still being me, but just funking it up and not being afraid to look in the mirror and almost not recognize all me. You know what I mean?
So when did you feel like this power, this ability to transform yourself, to change your look, your image, your style? When did you feel that you could start transferring this to other people and to other things? What was the bridge for you from self-discovery, exploration, alteration to the world self-discovery, change, alteration? What was the bridge there?
Well, the bridge started to cross a little bit when the girls on hall and Trinity Hall, they would come to my room before we go to the club, wherever we were going, and they would be like, "You wearing those bracelets tonight?" And I was like, "Okay." And then I started dressing everybody. So accessories, this, that. And then one of my friends said, "Maybe you should charge. Maybe you should get a $10 or $15 from each."
Yeah, for dressing everybody.
Yeah, like using accessories and bringing it back for you, but you can make a little money. So that was the first time I ever even considered it. It was never thought before that. I never thought I could make money from being a stylist or from helping people look better. So
this was like a kind of beta testing because you started to see the value because you said, "Oh, well, put on this, try on this," and you dress somebody. And then they came back the next time and was like, "Could you dress me again?"
They would every week.
What was happening when you all went out that made people say, "Well, I need to go back and get dressed by Risanne again"?
Well, I think it was two things. I think one, it was my personality. Because the energy and the confidence and the vibe
that you would impart in that person.
That's right. When I dress you, I tell you the absolute truth, the way I see it, of course.
Yes.
Right? And I would say, "No, you're short legs. Why are you so slouched back? Let's try this top." And when they put on the top, this is them.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, "What? Maybe this is your kind of style." The
Yeah.
fact that you're walking around with your head held high now, and before it was much more slouched. Maybe
Yeah.
this kind of thing is your style, you know. Let's try these earrings. When they put on the earrings, they're putting up their hair for the first time. They're not hiding their face
Yeah.
anymore. You
Yeah.
know, so little things that might seem simple to other people changes the way people see themselves, and that improves other areas of their lives. You know what I mean? I helped many a girl manage many a boy. You know, self-esteem wise, when the boys did not come
Yeah.
at them certain way, they're like, no, I'm this. I can be whatever I want to be. Like, no, you have to work, and this is not going to work. You know what I mean? So when I saw it transforming there, that's when I knew that it could be a money making thing. But I still, because I didn't see any examples of it, like I didn't know anybody who was doing that for real.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to even approach it or explain that to my mom or my family and be like, this is what I want to do. I didn't want them to think, oh, you want to sell jewelry, you want to have a store.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
different. Styling is all about personalities and sharing and plenty truth and discomfort. It have plenty discomfort in styling too. It's not all about fabulous. I've style women who cry when they see themselves in the mirror. They cry because part of them don't feel that they deserve to look the way that, you know what I mean? They just find
Yeah.
out that's not me. Oh my God, like, you know what I mean? That's too much. And I'm like, girl, you got one life to live.
You only live once.
Right?
That's
So
so
then
important.
in Jamaica, being very broke, hunger has inspired a lot of my career. Like hunger. Hunger is my
Literal.
best friend. Right? And hunger doesn't mean literal, like my belly starving hunger. Just wanting it so bad that you could taste it, that you could feel it in your core and your head. You can't sleep. It giving you anxiety, wanting it bad from here. It's come from a kind of
Yeah.
core place. That kind of hunger. When I was in Jamaica, I was lonelier. I didn't know anybody. So my hunger was a different kind of hunger. So from the time I made some friends, I started doing the styling for money. That was the first time I understood that I could get paid. It still was not a lot of money.
Yeah. But you understood that you were adding value to people's lives and that that value had a tangible cost
Yeah.
that you could charge and that people would have a threshold of saying, yes, I will pay for this because it is valuable to me and I cannot get it anywhere else.
And then,
I can't
then
get
after they can't live without it. They can't live without
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So what I do is try to teach. No, like I'm not gonna just give you a taste of it and then leave you. Bye. So that every week, because now the way my bookings are scheduled, I don't have time to be available 24/7 for everybody that I've ever styled. You know.
Yeah.
So I try to teach and impart. Let's find your style, and let's maybe you should start going in that direction. You
I
know.
hear you. I hear you.
So,
So you've come a really long way from dressing people in your dorm room on hall for small change survivors,
$20.
right? Jamaica.
In Trinity Hall in
Oh, and Trinity Hall and
yeah,
Trinidad. Just
Trinity.
curious, just curious.
Yeah,
That's
in
terrible. Why are we so terrible? Please.
You are.
You
In
know,
Jamaica, it was more corporate ladies. And
corporate ladies in
corporate
Jamaica.
ladies is who made me feel validated, to be honest.
No, yeah,
For my little friends for money, that still wasn't making me feel like this could be real. Even
yeah,
though it filled me up, doing it
yeah.
filled me up. But I didn't know myself enough to know what filled up was.
Yes.
I was just kind of existing and winging it in a kind of way, you know. But when I got to Jamaica and those older women, they were willing to pay me more money than I thought I was worth.
Yeah.
When I charged them, they paid me double the amount. I'm like, girl, like this is what? And I'm like, okay, like I felt shame, like, you know, I was like, maybe I don't know what I doing or what, you know. And then where can I see prices for this?
Yeah, yeah. There's
You know
no
what I mean?
information out there. There's
No, none.
there's
No
no
standard rate.
guidelines. There's no mentors.
Nope.
You know, it's tough.
Nope.
It's tough. So now you've built that bridge between this girl who didn't understand the value of this work to this woman now who has a business, a proper entrepreneurial business, doing work for clients locally, regionally. You have doing work with advertising agencies, all of this stuff. And I know how busy you were up to late last year. You were actually, we have even gotten into Carnival, the fact that you designed for Lush Tribe, that you designed and successfully sold your own section in a band from, where was it?
St. Croix.
From St. Croix last year. And
Yeah.
then here you are bridging, going, moving up, and then bam, COVID hits
Mhm.
in March, right? What has been impact of that?
Well, COVID.
What's your fan noise on the speaker? It's making a kind
Oh,
of,
sorry. Is it okay?
yeah, it's better now. Still here, that kind of, there you go. Yes.
Good?
Yes. So tell us a bit about how COVID had impacted your career back in March. How did that affect you?
Well, it was a lot to take in. Um, I'm always in my fields constantly, so that's why I hide from people because I absorb everything.
Yeah.
So I was just in my fields for a while. It took me a few weeks to come to terms with the. I don't want to say new normal. I don't want to say pivot. I don't want to say none of them words.
One of the
Creatives are fed
pieces.
up.
Yeah.
Creatives are sick and fed up of everybody telling them to pivot and
Yeah.
to evolve and to whatever. Right?
Adapt to the
And
new
adapt.
normal.
Right? I don't use those words.
Figure it out.
Right? But it did take some time because I went through my whole period of disappointment generally because I had a lot of plans for this year, a lot of travel plans. I was supposed to begin a fellowship in New York, in Arizona, in the States. I was really excited about that. I had a tour, a Caribbean mentorship tour, which meant the world to me. I had already lined up with the schools in different islands of the Caribbean. So that tour was supposed to start in September. And then I was supposed to go to Ghana in July, August. So I had a lot of travel plans. And I mean, we all had plans for 2020.
Oh.
And I took a small disappointment, a lie, a big disappointment. It really hit me hard.
Yeah.
And it really, I had to go through my emotions and kind of figure it out and feel my feels. But having support is everything. So my sister, even though you all don't know who she is, this character was like a real instrumental part. My partner, Lady Gans, and my father, Louis Martin, was everything. Like everything. I could have go through my emotions, cuss, cry, do whatever. And they were right there loving me, supporting me same way. For a while, my main focus was just having enough money to have groceries.
Yeah.
Right? Make sure that I can eat and be
Yeah.
comfortable. And my first instinct when I feel any kind of pain or hurt or grief is to create. So it sent me creating, and I didn't have a lot of money to invest in materials because
Yeah.
so focused on the money that I had for food and making sure that, because I wasn't sure how long it would last. I
Yeah.
was wondering how, if when we're gonna open back up, if it's, what I mean, what is gonna happen in terms of lockdown,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So my main focus was just managing my money that I had already
Mm-hmm.
as best as I could, so that I can afford to eat comfortably, and because I love to eat. Food helps a lot with
Yeah.
energies and vibes. So I picked out March, April, May was all about pigging out. I eat waffles for breakfast and just comfort food, ice cream, just
Yeah.
comfort.
But as Amanda was saying in the first episode of this series, she was saying that she's a mediator counselor that I spoke to in the first episode of the Resilience series. She said, we one of the coping habits we use is self-soothing. And eating something nice, watching a show, doing something that allows us to escape or feel good in the moment is, self-soothing. And I started to see all the activities that are self-soothing activities that I resorted to during the first month of the pandemic and the lockdown, just to cope, because it was so tough as a creative. It's one thing if your work is transformed and you have to go to work some days and your salary is still coming in and all of that stuff, but it's a completely different thing when you can't work.
Mm-hmm.
all the plans you have are gone. And I also spent a lot of time, I think, mourning those plans.
Yes.
Telling myself, well, I'll oh God, oh no, I was supposed to be doing this. Oh
What was a challenge
no,
for me was not holding myself accountable, because I hold myself accountable a lot.
yeah,
I'm trying to not do in the same, and I try to do it in a kind of gentler way.
yeah,
Um, but I was so used to taking responsibility for every single day of my life and having control. Well, what I deemed in my mind was control
yeah,
of my destiny daily. I just felt really like I couldn't control anything. It was just out of my hands
yeah,
completely, and I hated that. That I felt helpless. I felt like I couldn't help anybody that around me who was in bad. It had some creatives that was in a bad way. They didn't have
yeah,
groceries in their house. You know what I mean? They're getting sick and they don't have medication. If they have a headache, they can't buy a painkiller. Like that's the
yeah,
kind of other creatives going through, and I was in a position to assist maybe with a few things, but not consistently. You know what
yeah,
I mean? And not all the time. And that helplessness, I think, was real a lot for
it
me.
was
And then,
tough.
in April, right before my birthday, I surrendered. I said, I am not in control. Reminder to self, I am not in control. Therefore, I can't be responsible for the
Yeah,
pandemic. Like, it's not my fault. The
yeah,
pandemic is not my fault. I had to tell myself that 100 times. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I have to be kind with me, with myself, in dealing with the fallout from it. You know what I mean? I don't, because I didn't get this job, or I don't have that job that I really was excited about. Isn't because I wasn't able to do the work or I wasn't present. It's because there's a pandemic in the
yeah,
world. It's not
yeah.
just we go. You know what I mean?
So I'm hearing a few different ideas coming out here, right? One of the first things you were saying is when the initial pandemic hit and you were kind of overwhelmed, you used self-soothing as a coping strategy. You ate nice things whenever you wanted. You
Mm-hmm.
treated yourself, spoiled yourself. You rested. You didn't try to. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of had to see were forced to slow down. You also did not beat you made an effort not to beat yourself up
Mm-hmm.
about the situation. I think often we're told about money that, if you're having problems with money, it's your fault.
Mm-hmm. And you're not
You
successful.
behaved irresponsibly. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Why you don't have a real job, right? All of these kind of things. So we have to kind of let go of that guilt, that shame, that beating ourselves up. How I could be here and I don't have any money, and I calling myself a professional, and I calling myself a this and that, and I have $0 and 0 cents and no work, and coming on a sort of a journey through that kind of stress and pressure to a point where you're saying, I surrender. And for you, surrendering meant accepting that you had no control over this, that this was a force majeure, as they call it in the contract,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
this is something that is beyond anyone's control. It is a global, unprecedented global pandemic, and it's out of my hands, right? So that surrender, what kind of actions did that lead you to? What did you
Okay.
do after
So,
accepting?
okay. So after accepting, that's when my everything started to kick back in. My creative energy started flowing. I did a lot of meditation, yoga, and I started going jogging. And that, my friend, is what reactivated every single creative nerve, even more so than there was before. And what happened as well is I reconnected with the part of me that created art for art's sake.
Yeah,
For the past 2 years, my art has been very commercially accepted, I should say, right? Even if the art itself that I create doesn't come from a commercial place or wasn't intended for that purpose, it's been
yeah,
very commercially accepted. My
yeah,
services as well, and that created a more commercial operation. My business became a much more commercial operation. So bookings weekly, we were on fire, right?
yeah,
And reinvestment. one time. You know, we had a great model that was working for us going, and
Yeah.
2020 was supposed to be a kind of culmination for us to go into another phase of
Yeah.
operation.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
moving out of the reinvestment immediately kind of phase into a longer term, kind of longer structure vibe. We had like a 3-year plan, and 2020 was kind of the combination of that. So that commercial vibe was, I didn't realize that I turned into a big commercial, not monster. Every
So
single
that
thing
has become sort of like
yeah,
some of the motivation behind your work.
sorry. Yeah,
And
because
I guess when you're making commercial work, no
Mhm.
matter how much we hold on to our creative integrity, at some point we are working to please a client.
yeah, that's right.
Somebody else has to say whether it's accepted
Or
or
not,
not to some
right?
extent, and that does
Mhm.
something to you as a creative.
It does. It does. And I
Yeah,
didn't realize. I didn't notice that what it was doing. I didn't see that happening. I, in my mind, thought everything was still raw and still fresh and still coming from my place of pain and darkness and happiness and joy as well. You know,
yeah, yeah.
and just intensity overall. That's kind of where I operate from. And yeah, I was turning into a whole commercial something, and the macaw was reactivated with COVID because I had to feel all the feels. Also, the issues I had with myself because I'm not perfect. I'm not.
You're not.
I have a lot of shut up.
Say it again. Say it again.
I have a lot of aggression and a lot of anger issues and a lot of unresolved pain. AKA, I need a therapist.
Yes, me too.
I really need a therapist. I've
I
always
know
needed
talking to Amanda made me realize it. I was like,
I need a therapist to
therapy.
unpack some of my emotions. I've been using my work as my therapist. I've been creating with my hands as therapy, and that has worked for me and is in terms of survival, but I haven't been able to thrive in terms of knowing myself and being the best me. I haven't been able to do that because all the work as well, I was just in the work. Who cared about me? Me.
Yes.
I me that nobody knows or sees or me that I see. You know, I didn't have
that really gets into the question of, when I take away all my roles and my responsibilities,
who am I? What's left?
My work, who am I beyond all of those things? Yeah. And that's an important question, because that kernel there, that little core, if we can discover it, we can truly have purpose, because we sort of know what we're for, what we are beyond all of these other external things that are put on us, or the relationships that we have. So I think that's an important journey you're talking about. And what you're saying is that this pandemic has given you the opportunity, by taking everything away, it's given you the opportunity to kind of rediscover who you are and your core self, and for you to sort of formulate and clarify your intention. What's been some of the work that's emerged from that?
Well, plenty tears. I just cry a lot. Whenever I feel the urge to cry, I just cry. Not that I'm a crybaby. Okay.
Become more comfortable,
crybaby.
venting your feelings and your emotions through crying, which is
key. Yes, and sharing my feelings in the moment. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes I don't share my feelings, and I try to process them on my own. But saying it out loud helps me to know, help me to hear what it is.
Yeah.
So that sometimes it's not real. Sometimes the feeling coming from something I don't even know. But when I say it out loud and having a safe space and people around me that I love and I trust, that I could say what I feel to, that they're not going to watch me and be like, okay, crazy. They watch me and be like, okay, I hear you. You know what I mean?
So that touches on another coping strategy that Amanda talked about, and also that Kenny talked about in the last interview. They both talked about the importance of having people around you who you can vent to and talk to as a safe space, right? And that means, what does that mean to you when you talk about being able to have people around you who you can talk to?
Well, it has meant more in recent times than ever before, but it has always meant a lot. But in recent times, I've been able to pay attention more.
Yeah.
And listen. My listening skills have really improved, I think, during COVID. And listening not only to hear, but to listen. That skill is a real difficult skill, and a lot of people think that they could listen, and they're good at it. And also, the comfort that I feel in say I feel a lot of comfort in sharing and not being sometimes I don't want advice. I
Yeah.
realize, just to be
You
heard.
want to talk. Yeah,
Yeah, to be
yeah.
heard,
Well,
you
I
know.
think I think a lot of us creatives and people in general, not to separate us, as mutants from the rest of the
Right?
population, but I think a lot of us and that's one of the reasons why I do this show, to be very, very honest with you. I have a lot of feelings and concerns about creatives in Trinidad and Tobago pre-COVID, and COVID has kind of exposed a lot more of the injustices and the lack of infrastructure that we have to deal with. But it's about me also kind of grappling with some of these questions. Who am I? What is my core belief and motivation? How do I want to engage with other creatives? Yes, I want to work with them and do projects together, but I also want to be a resource for them so that we can all become more powerful. Because if all the creatives are making good money in our whatever niche or in whatever combination of skills and abilities, then we could really start to ascend as individuals, because we're not worried about how we're going to eat and where we're going to sleep and how we're going to
Yeah.
manage production and how we're going to get this done. And COVID's really kind of exposed some of the cracks in our system. Have you gotten a grant yet? Any grants? Have you applied for any grants?
No, I've applied for all, all. I'm not playing no games. I'm applying for all the grants. Um, and I haven't gotten any. I haven't gotten any yet. But I did get some responses, like to send extra this, send extra that.
Right.
So
So
that's
you got some
hopeful.
feedback.
Yeah, but I didn't get any grants yet.
All right. Well, I wanted to share just very quickly a little segment from your show,
Mm-hmm.
Style by Style We Stand, which is a YouTube show
I was born out of pain,
that was born out of
out
pain
of COVID pain, creating my own content.
that you created during COVID. And I have to say, I really, really respected the effort that you made to do it. And I'm just going to play a short clip for you guys, just showcasing the part of the show. Even though I love the whole thing, this is the part that touched me the most. And I just want to let you all know, go over to Rissy Style on YouTube, like and follow, subscribe. She has 10 episodes in the last season of Style by Style with Style.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Style by Style We Stand with me, Rissy Star. Today is all about floral explosion. Right, we'll be looking at floral embellishment, but first we're going to start with our affirmation. Today's affirmation is I have the patience and the willpower to succeed. Say it with me. I have the patience and the willpower to succeed. There are so many opportunities that I have now.
Yes, yes, yes. This was something that really, really resonated with me. These affirmations that you start each of your episodes with. And guys, they are so worth it. Like, just go watch it. You mightn't be into fashion. Go and watch the first 2 minutes of Style by Style. We start your
What's
day.
the whole thing? What's the whole thing? Unsubscribe. It's like 9 minutes long.
Watch the whole thing. It's not for you, boy. One to them, boy.
And get some styling tips and advice.
Yes, get some styling tips and advice, but also these affirmations. And I really, really appreciate them. And could you tell me a bit about where these affirmations came from? Like, where did you get them, and why were you inspired during COVID to create this show and to, of all things, start the show with affirmations?
Well, I remember when I was younger, my mom, our mom, used to say, you have to be careful what you tell yourself about yourself, right? I had a way I used to kind of berate myself out loud or say, this not looking good, or
Mhm.
if I had this, it would have looked better. Or if I had, I would have been
Mhm.
able to get this. And she just found I had everything I needed with me already. So for me to even say something like, I don't have this, or I'll never get that, or I'll never be so, it's madness. So
Yeah,
that's where it started for me. Just being aware of what I said to myself about myself, and then
yeah,
saying it out loud gives a kind of power, and a kind of it kind of puts it out into the universe, puts it out into the world in a more real way. Um, it's almost like reading it, writing it, and saying it. You're sure you know it, and you're sure it's more real.
so what you're saying is that for you, affirmations are a way of changing reality in
Mm-hmm.
a sense by focusing on these affirmations, by saying these affirmations out loud, by believing in it and sharing it with others. These are actually things that you are manifesting into the world, and you're seeing these things work for
I'm
you.
100% sure that it works. Right? I'm 100% sure that manifestation is very real. For me personally, it has a lot to do with my ancestors and my energy and vibes I get from them. I feel like my mom has a big part to play with how
Mhm.
my ancestors treat with me, and the things that they allow for me, and it believing in the way that I believe in manifestation. It helps to dream bigger and to want even more for myself than I ever imagined before. It helps me to come out of the little box that I used to live in before, where I thought, oh, I'm from this little community, so maybe my impact could be big, but not like international, and I wasn't trying to stop myself from being international or anything. But I legit didn't think it was possible. I didn't know anybody personally
Yeah.
who worked doing what I do and then end up big and international just so, you know what I mean? So that the affirmations really helped. They got me from point A to point B. Doing the work, affirmation. You can't just lie down all day and say, I am a
No.
success. I'm going to do it, and you lie down in your bed. Like,
If I lie down in my
it's
bed
not
whole
gonna
day and
work.
I say, so what you're saying, right? If
Right?
I lie down in my bed whole day and I say I
Over and
can
over.
and I will, which is one of
Mhm.
the affirmations that I love. If I lie down in my bed every day and I say that and that's all I say, nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen. You
Yeah.
have to get up. And you see, it's more than just words. You have to feel it in your core. It's the same energy people used to pray. That's why prayer works, I think.
Yeah.
Prayer and manifestation, to me, is the same thing. You know what I mean? Because you're saying it over and over. Whichever God you praise. You know what I mean? If it's Allah, if it's, you know what I mean? Whatever your religion is, I think saying it over and over, that whole repetition vibe, all of that chanting vibe, all of that is historical. You know what I mean? It's historical. We've been doing that a
Yeah.
long time now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you chant them words over and over and over and over, and you will get it. Your intention, your whole intention, your whole body must be intentional, and everything that you do after you say them words must go towards that intent. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You don't want to do the opposite and expect the same another result. You know what I mean? So
So,
it's really good.
so one of the things you're saying is that some of the coping skills that you've had to use during this kind of crisis in the world have led to you evolving
Hmm.
and becoming more aware of yourself as well as your creative process,
Hmm.
how you want to work going forward, and it's led to you creating work that you may not have created otherwise.
Yes, for
Uh,
sure.
what kind of, I mean, as much as it might be difficult to plan for the future at this time, where do you see yourself going forward? Because I think it's so important for creatives to have a sort of a plan. Even if, as one of my old mentors says, you might have to throw away the plan and make a new plan, which is definitely what we're doing right now. Where do you see yourself going with this? What's next for Rissy Style?
Well, I see travel, a lot of travel in my future. There are a few awesome stylists and creatives that I want to collaborate with in New York and London. So I want to do a lot of travel. That's where I see going, just international, generally international clients, more experience on an international front. I feel very connected to the Caribbean. I don't feel like I conquer the Caribbean because I mean I even
Right.
conquer I even conquer Trinidad, but I just want to work with as many awesome creatives as possible because I feel like I want to just keep learning. You know, it never ends. That whole learning vibe. Everybody teaches me something. Everybody who I've ever worked with taught me something. Even if it was a lesson that annoyed me, it was still something. And I just feel like we have so much to give in the Caribbean, so much to teach. And I want to learn from as many Caribbean creatives as possible because I want to continue to create Caribbean focused art for the rest of my life. I'm not. I don't care how cliche Caribbean focused art is. It's what I feel in my core. It's my mom. It's my myself. It's my family. You know, it's kind of what my foundation is. So I wanna do whatever I do. That is the center from which I want to create it. But definitely travel, 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 and I feel like I can tap more into my genius if I get to know myself better. So a therapist for sure.
So, so international work, international clients, international collaborations, regional collaborations. You are also very much interested in traveling, and you see yourself traveling a lot. You were meant to travel quite a bit this year.
Yeah, I was.
As soon as things open, as soon as the border open, you're gone.
Yes, but I'll be traveling in January, no matter what.
Right.
And that's information as well as reality.
That is very reality.
I'm hoping that'll change.
That
But
is
they're traveling in January to do the fellowship with the Young Leaders of the Americas Initiative.
Mhm.
It's a program done with the U.S. Embassy as well as IREX. So I'm very excited. I was very happy to be selected as a fellow. I'll basically be touring different U.S. States and doing work with organizations, similar mentorship organizations for girls. So I'll be getting a little more experience on how they operate internationally, so I can just be more informed and when I start opening my own youth mentorship girls program here. So yeah,
Great. I'll definitely be helping you with that. I'd love to get involved.
of course, and I would also like to.
Okay, seem to have frozen. So I'm just gonna give Risanne a few minutes, see if I can get her back. So let me just take you through to a little bit more of style by style we stand while
that I didn't have 6 years ago, and I really, really was convinced that having the patience and the willpower will bring opportunities that you cannot imagine possible. It's not always easy. Sometimes you want to know how long must I wait? How long can I wait for this opportunity? You see in other people having the opportunities that you want. You see in other people having the things that you want, and you really want it now. You want it today. You want to feel that joy of having it now, right? I am here to remind you, as usual, that this takes time and it's not the easiest thing to do. But when you wait, while you wait, you have to wait with grace, waiting with poise, understanding and being grateful for every single thing that you already have will bring all of the abundance you can dream of and you can imagine. So today's episode is all about floral embellishments. Now, guys, you all know I did a tropical episode already, but I had to come back with the floral vibe because I really had to give you guys some insight into how using flowers, artificial flowers, or flowers that I've made by hand.
Okay, guys, we got a little disconnected there, but I do believe we are back. Yay!
I'm not sure what happened.
I don't know either. It just froze, and then I was like, okay, let me just show some of this show by the time. And I thought,
That's a good idea.
I thought your computer died, so I was like, okay, let me.
No, it's
I
charged, girl. Was prepped for this.
Okay, guys, so we are back in the late half here
We're
of
back.
this creative resilience episode. We're talking to my sister and yours, Risanne Martin, stylist and designer. We got cut off for a while there, but she and the ever sexy Bob Marley in the background, they are back. So we're glad. Yeah, that's confusing on the side. So we're back, and we were just talking about your plans going forward. You were telling us how you were going to be traveling. You were giving us a little more details about your fellowship with the Young Leaders of the Americas program and IREX, and that you're taking that up in January. It's going to be taking you all around the place, and you're going to be doing more mentorship work. So I wanted to touch on that, and I wanted to find out a bit more about your mentorship work and how you've managed to still deliver it during a pandemic. Could you tell us just a little bit about that?
Okay, so the mentorship has been happening during the pandemic through these chats like this, virtual chats. And I was so happy that it could still happen in some capacity. I strongly believe that a lot of my mentorship has a lot to do with the human interaction. Some of the girls, I kind of get a sense of who they are and who they, want to be kind of from being around them in person. So I haven't been able to do that kind of one-on-one interaction, but I'm happy to report that I'll still be next week. I'll be doing the Girls First Festival, which I've been a part of for the past 3 years.
Great.
With Citizens Bank. The Girls First Festival will be next week, and we'll be doing it virtually. And the girls will be able to ask questions, I'll be able to answer questions. And my sessions are usually on confidence building, of course, and worthiness. I like to center a lot of it around worthiness, just knowing that, just a reminder that you're worthy of greatness, of, big things.
Well, those are such important lessons for women and girls, particularly women and girls of color.
Yes.
As I think everyone is aware now, we tend to be at the bottom of the totem pole as far as income, ownership, representation. But we seem to be at the top of the totem pole when it comes to let's take this, let's take that, let's take this from the other person. So we have been a source, down to the lady where they stole her cells of so much richness and amazingness in the world. And I think it's time for the world to give a little back. So I'm excited to know all your future plans. That is wonderful. And this is a question I like to ask all my guests. We're coming down to the end of the session, and it's this: if you, as a creative, were to suddenly be given full control and be fully in charge of the creative industries in Trinidad and Tobago, what would be one of the first things that you would do?
I think one of the first things I would do is consult with creatives.
Right.
I would want to hear them out. And I would implement measures to ensure that as many of them could be heard as possible, or try to put them into small groups, subgroups, where they can have discussions, and then we can get minutes from those discussions.
Yeah.
Right? And that is what I would do. I would consult to really hear and ask the right questions. I would ask the right questions for sustainability, not for what could feed me today, what could go and buy bread now.
Yeah.
And what could feed my children and my family in 10 years. That's you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we're just now starting to understand the long-term value of intellectual property and creative property. The fact of the matter is that a show like The Cosby Show, which was made during the 80s and that is now off the air because of Bill Cosby, and his crimes and so, that has put a lot of those actors who were in that show on the breadline.
Yeah.
Because you did a show in the 80s
And you getting paid for it.
you still getting paid. All those people from Friends, they are still being paid. So as much as we try to in this country, I think there's a lot of framing of cultural industries as fly by night and just da-da-da-da-da-da. I can honestly say that I have created a film product in 2014 that I'm still earning from today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I still earn from during this quarantine. I was able to make money from the very careful management and distribution of a film product that I co-own with another creative that we collaborated together, Joanne Johnson. So I think I know from my experience that the work that you're doing and what you're talking about, sustainable investment in your creative self, it is something that can pay dividends for years and years and years and years. I don't know all the details, but I understand that Colin Lucas got very lucrative deals out of Dollar.
Yeah.
One song and all of we whining, but he's still whining, you know?
We still need to we still a lot I don't want to say we, I never say we. A lot of Trinis or us, I have to say us, damn it. We understand the value of music because that's an international thing. So there's a lot of copyright for music or whatever. And a fashion designer can't copyright nothing.
Yeah.
Design the magicalest, most wonderfulest, piece. And somebody could do it tomorrow. And so we could be fighting up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is a turn off for a lot of fashion creatives.
Of
so
course.
I liked a lot. I got really excited when Creative TT did fashion TT, music TT. You see, separating that.
Yeah.
I felt like yes, representation, things one, and I'm not the most political, like I don't get into politics, but I also speak my truth as well. So full balance. I felt as though it was a real pick me kind of vibe and convenience. The creatives who we know already, or who know who.
Yeah.
Or whose work that I like personally.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
And that's madness.
Yeah.
That's madness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like me becoming the head of a fashion TT and only seeking out people who I know already. There are millions, you know what I mean? There are thousands of creatives in Trinidad and Tobago. All of them are the same way. All of them don't have the same documents. You know what I mean? All of them don't have the same this. But the man who using straw to make these straw hats and these bags, he never write a receipt in his life. He don't know how much money he make last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A creative, you have an ID, we could photocopy that, we could have access. You don't have a cell phone, but we could reach him by his aunt place on Tuesdays. I don't know. That's how some creatives are, you know what I mean? Like no organization has ever been able to help them. You know what I mean? In terms of helping me, I create my own opportunities. I am not the type that will sit down and wait for to call me and say, "Oh hi, for calling from Creative TT. Come and be featured in our bye. How about bye? How about I'll feature it myself?
Yes.
Right? And I will build my own audience and I'll create my own customer base, right? And because I strongly believe that I have the power to do all of these things, and nothing could convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
If you join me and we want to collaborate, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But in terms of looking at them as the savior or the be all and end all is nothing. And then being chosen by them tends to set up a lot of creatives too. They think, oh well, Creative TT chose me, so
that means I'm good.
Yeah, and you're still not getting no money, you're still not selling no clothes. You know
so
what I mean?
I'm hearing a strong preference for creating your own forum.
I think so.
And being powerful in that forum. You have over 12,000 followers on one of your Instagram pages. And altogether, what you have about maybe 30,000.
I have no idea. Probably
across all your platforms,
While I really appreciate followers and the audience, I really appreciate networking more.
Yeah.
And I'm not like I don't think that the kind of influence I want to have isn't follower-based influence. It's content-based influence. You know, like how Dominic Calipasad's Instagram is content-based influence.
Yes.
He is educating masses of
Yes.
people,
Yes.
people who would not go and Google those facts.
True.
He presented images that he went and find in archives.
Yes. Lots of work.
Right? Scan
Lots
and put
of
it up
work.
there just for us to go and look at, just to get a taste of history. You know, many times I scroll into Instagram, see one of his posts from 1940 something, get inspired and go and create a whole design based on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the kind of content I want to produce. Content that will inspire other creatives or other people who may not deem themselves to be creative to get on board. That's why the upcycling is so important too.
Yeah. Tell me a bit more about the upcycling.
Well, the upcycling started, well, I didn't realize I was upcycling, but I've been doing it for years. I've been thrifting, taking wardrobe that I've got at thrift stores or just wardrobe that I've collected over the years and been changing it every year. So, for example, I have this one denim jacket. I hand painted it 1 year, and I used that on a shoot that was popular. A lot of people love the hand paint design. It went crazy. The next year, I added fringe sleeves on it, right? And then the next year, I added some gold beads on it. So now it's a whole different jacket than it was before. Rather than trying to throw away that jacket, right, to add to the madness that is going on environmentally, right? Or just packing it away and being a pack rat. I try to use it, try to turn it into a new piece every year. So something that I really want to wear and excited to wear. And I'm trying to get more people to go into their wardrobe because they have it. Go into their wardrobe. They just can't see it. It's very hard to see what you have.
Very hard to see. When I come up, because I've seen, and if you want to see more of this process, you can check out the Style by Style Risanne video.
Yes, you can definitely
each episode, Risanne creates a look. Sometimes she uses, usually she would use upcycling, embellishment, just to bring a older piece back to life, so that can be
t-shirts they have there for a long time, and you say this, why do not just let me throw this here? That will create everything being garbage is what is killing the environment right now.
Yeah,
so we have to find ways to buy less. Like, don't go and buy a new outfit every single time. You know, that is madness. What you do into the environment. And even when you buy like polyester fabrics and plasticky fabrics and you wash that in your washing machine, you could be poisoning a turtle. Like legit killing a fish every time you wash polyester or any plastic fabric. And it's time that we all know that what we're doing is all linked. You know what I mean? About global warming, and we're scared about plenty sea life and all of that being put on the what you call it list. Right? And
extinction,
on the extinction list, and you washing your plastics normal, thinking that you real doing your best, and that's not your best. Using 100% cottons is your best. You know what I mean? And I understand that might be feasible for every single body because they might already own a lot of polyester. Yeah. But if you own a lot of it, don't throw it away because it will never disappear. It will take years in the dump to disappear. Wear it again, keep wearing it, put stuff on it, embellish it, add things, make something for a friend, you know? As long as it's in good condition, I think embellishing it, adding something to it, upcycling it is definitely the future. We are moving away from fast fashion. COVID has ended a lot of factories and a lot of operations like that. That was basically modern day slavery to make H&M clothes and all these clothes that people love to buy on Amazon.
But cheap, right? $5, $3.
So I understand how much is this gown, and I'll be like $1,200, and they'll be like $1,200. I see something similar on thing.
$100 US.
You know, less than $50 US, and they go and buy that. And I'm not mad at
the price for that. Somebody's paying the price for that.
I'm not mad at you, but when it's a local manufacturer, it's about 3 different people getting paid every time you buy something from me.
Yeah.
I'm not taking the money and going, I'm rich. You know what I mean? It's a whole mouth we feed in coming down the line. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's local, all local people getting paid, you know? So you're literally helping somebody from Trinidad and Tobago to feed their family if you buy something from a local designer rather than from online. But a lot of people want the cheaper option, but the cheaper option is slavery. You're supporting every time you buy it. The cheaper option is the environment. You're messing up every time you buy it. And you have to take responsibility for that. We have to take our clothes culture has to change how we think about it, you know? I took someone to the thrift shop and they were like, thrift, ew, that means other people own this. I'm like, that is the best thing ever. What? You much old lady wisdom. You much old lady wisdom I get from my thrift clothes.
Well, on one level, I can absolutely hear that, you know, we need to stop fast fashion. We need to stop thinking about clothes as if it's toilet paper or tissue. You know, you use it once and then you don't wear it again. There's a huge movement coming out of the 80s there where they were pushing not only American culture and American capitalism, but where they started pushing that whole idea of fast fashion, that whole idea of you can't be caught dead in the same thing twice. All of these kind of psychological advertising, mind control messages that they send out to women in particular.
Women in particular, because men wear over the same jeans a million times.
Well, men's clothes are so much more expensive because they buy one pair of jeans and they wear it for 20 years and literally until the apart. Yeah, exactly. I had to destroy my husband's clothes because I'm like,
men also
I don't know where that is.
Men also keep their clothes really well.
Yeah, yes, they do. They do, and a lot of women, a lot of us, you know, we keep clothes in piles. We don't keep them very well. Sometimes we get very overwhelmed with our wardrobe and with the clothes that we have. So that could be, you know, that could be a lot. And I see that this is something that you work on constantly, and that you're very, very passionate about upcycling. Is this because you feel that there is hope for the future or that there isn't hope for the future?
I feel like there is hope for the future, and I think that because of social media, getting these messages across in a cool, fashionable, stylish way is all it's about. And because I have access to so many youth to mentor, which I'm very grateful for, and I take very seriously, I'm very responsible with my mentorship, you know what I mean? And the messages I try to relay about freedom to be yourself, I want to kind of get that into their head so that they could move forward, you know, in a new culture. They could introduce the culture. You know, one of the subculture groups that I'm very excited about is the Zesta movement, the Trinidad.
Trinidad.
I'm so in love with Trinidad. One, because of my cultural studies background, and I understand and just seeing the whole thing unfold is incredible. So that's on one hand, and the next hand is that they are very impressionable and they're everywhere, right? Social media is like their main source of info and everything. So I feel like as if I can mentor some of the youths in the Trinidad to be more sustainable with their fashion and with their clothes and to just kind of find a way to share that message and make it cool, make it fashionable, to upcycle, make it fashionable, to care about the environment. You know, that your children and your children's children are going to be, you know, you know, try to get people to care a little more about marine life because we love to go down the islands and see dolphins chasing the boats. We love to see things like that, you know what I mean? And that not going to last forever. If we continue, like we running out of time, the world running out of time. So right now in Tobago, we also could play small parts. And it's not only about not littering, but it's also about our fashion, our clothes also contributes, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Risanne Martin, we have heard so much from you today, and we appreciate all of it. We are coming down to the end of the show. You've told us so much about your entry into the creative industries, some of the push and pull factors that brought you into fashion and styling. We didn't talk about this too much, but we did talk about some of the ways that you have brought a sort of a professionalism and a value for self to this industry. And I can tell you, having worked in film and advertising for quite a few years, that this is a new approach. And I really, really appreciate it as a producer. You know, that's why I think I forced you to be the wardrobe and stylist.
A lot of my the opportunities that I got in the past shaped who I became, and most of them came through my sister Louris.
Thank you.
Okay?
You're so wonderful.
I don't know who I would be. I would be loud and crazy, but maybe not in fashion.
Maybe more crazy or less. No, it's interesting. We've talked about so many things that keep coming up, and there's these recurring themes of managing your mental health through self-care, constant and consistent self-discovery, through work, through meditation, um, self-soothing, taking care of yourself when things are bad and hard, not taking responsibility for every single thing that happens, recognizing that some things are outside of your control, and forgiving yourself for perceived failure, whatever it is. I hear a lot in your story too about the moving on, the ability to move on from one way of being to another, not to just say, well, I'm doing this and I'm staying here, and I'm doing this and I'm staying here, but of changing from one to the other, and of having growing pains and stress and insecurities at each phase, but always daring to grow and keep going. And I really appreciate all of that messaging. I also hear that you've been sharing your work and your way of seeing the world through mentorship, and that's been so rewarding for you personally and professionally, that you're off in January by hook or by crook to the Leaders of the Americas Fellowship in that area.
Yes.
Right? I hope so too, otherwise I will come for them. So I know how to buy a plane ticket and bring a chopper.
Right?
So I just want to say thank you so much for being on the program today. I think one of the biggest takeaways that I got was the power of affirmations and believing in yourself, as well as one of the things that I think you're recommending to our new minister or whoever it is in charge of the creative industries, to listen and to consult with the creatives. I always say we as creatives too, we need to show up properly. We need to be transparent. We need to be accountable. We can't
have respect for ourselves.
We need to have respect for ourselves. We can't
just tell us our job to get, you know.
Yeah. And we can't just walk around saying that we are contributing to this economy, that we are contributing to this country. We need to articulate it in a way that's nobody could say you don't. That you don't. And it's so interesting for me to see the kind of value and disvalue that the country and the society has for creatives, and the lack of recognition of all that we do. I mean, your news presenter is a creative, makeup done by a creative, or his makeup done by a creative, working
by a creative.
Hundreds of other creatives to bring you the news, to write it. The newscaster don't come on the news and say, things happen today, boy. Rowley, do this. This one, do this. Somebody writes it. Somebody who has studied the craft of writing. So, guys, you are surrounded. You are surrounded by creatives and creative work, and you depend on us for your very survival. I'm telling you. Right? That's Louris Leasing giving you a little cultural sprung along, right? In memory.
In memory of Sprang.
In memory of Sprang. Wonderful.
A real icon, a true, consistent warrior for the arts.
Committed. He never went and get a job.
No, he maintained. That was his job.
And he always had a lot of respect for himself. And he was professional. I mean, that generation was a different level of professional.
Of course, it was a whole different game. The kind of stories I heard him say, and I reach on the night and I end up doing this and I end up doing that. I'm like, what? Y'all done that? Nobody sent you an email?
Yes.
Book you?
Nobody called? You be no taxi picked you up?
You just by OWWTU hall and just sang and end up winning what? It's so cool.
It's crazy. But these are the stories that we need to hear and to know about, because they tell us so much about who we are. So I just wanted to share quickly. We had two viewers. We had quite a few viewers over the course of the program, but we had a couple of viewers who were constantly sharing. Christine Cole said, "Great interview, Louris and Risanne's energy is so infectious."
Yeah, thanks, Christine.
Individual, consult the creators and start working on the various
Yes.
that will ensure preservation, recognition, and financial stability for all creatives and
cultural icons.
Yes. Amen. And of course, the power of affirmation. Yeah. Well, guys, I just want to say thanks to all of you for watching today. And Risanne, thanks so much for being on the program.
I'd just like to say thank you for being my creative business advisor for the past 100 years. You have helped me so much to formulate my pricing, to manage my relationships with clients, which is all of these things I'm listing here is a creative problem, things that have to access.
It is hard.
Managing relationship with clients, knowing how to word and to phrase things, because creatives are very emotional, also very busy with our hands, and we don't have the headspace for writing an email and be doing the admin.
No,
you have taught me how to do both. You have taught me how to do both and how to balance it at least, and that is honestly, there's no amount of money in the world I can pay you, so I'll pay you none. Joke. Right?
People always choose that option.
Exposure. I will give you exposure.
Thanks.
Right, but thank you so much. That means it means the world to me, and you're just invaluable. You have been an invaluable asset in my life.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. And I would say the same thing. When I don't know what to do, I just call you, and you tell me what to do, and it's work out. So thanks for being there for me as well. When I'm going through my crisis, and I call and you say, "Girl, go and bed, drink something,
and then come back."
By the time I call you back, I'm like, "Yes,
I don't solve the problem.
I've worked it out. Yes, thank you so much." I called so and he said, "Sure." So thanks so much.
It was great. Thank you for having me.
We will probably have you back at some point, because there are very few people that I actually like on the planet.
No, don't say that. There's so many awesome creatives.
They're amazing. They're amazing.
I can't wait for next week.
We'll see what happens next week. It's going to be exciting.
I'm excited.
All right, well, enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy the rest of your day as well. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and love one another. Bye.